think is what I think is feasible.
Well, you didn't ask me what my life expectancy expectation is.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry. I should have asked you that. Go ahead. What's your life expectancy?
So it's like that's the only sort of polite thing to
response.
do in a conversation.
There you go. Great.
So I have to tell you a story. So I'm in medical school. I was doing a joint MD PhD program and in engineering, aerospace engineering and medicine, and I'm watching this television show on long-lived sea life. And it's, bowhead whales can live 200 years and Greenland sharks can live 400 or 500 years and sea turtles potentially could live longer. And I'm like, if they can live that long, why can't I?
Right. They've got some anti-cancer stuff going on in their body.
Well, yeah, but it's all software. So I said it's either a software problem or a hardware problem. Fair?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And we're going to be able to get the tools to improve
What do you mean
the
by
software.
software in that? What do you mean by software in that sense? You mean basically we can dose it with drugs versus change it with genetics? That's what we call hardware.
I mean, add the genes required for increased, cancer detection or repair systems, and it's basically actively alter your genetic code while you're alive, right? Or replace the organs.
Yeah. So CRISPR shows that this is possible. I think sickle cell was cured.
So sickle cell anemia, beta thalassemia, a whole range of diseases, right? There's going to be a point, I think it's in the next 10 years, that every genetic disease, if it's got enough funding behind it, can be in fact cured.
I think it's possible. Here's the article, sickle cell patient treated with CRISPR gene editing still thriving. So in a live patient, and it looks like the modification is actually taking place. But the thing is, with sickle cell, because you can treat it by modifying the cells in the bone marrow, those can basically be uptaken through the entire body.
Sure, but there's a lot of other diseases in liver diseases we're curing cancer. We're curing different forms of congenital blindness. We're able to use adeno-associated viruses to target specific cell types in liver, in skin, in bone marrow, whatever it might be. But I'm still going back to my prediction of my own life expectancy. So I set my life expectancy at a ridiculous number when I was in medical school.
1,000
years ago? No, it was something much more reasonable, like 500 years. But the challenge is that if you can live, my hypothesis, Balaji, is so let's back up a second. Okay, say that's ridiculous. Fine, coming back to 200 years, 150 years. Okay, we know people can make it to 120 years, right? There's reasonable, validated individuals who have lived supercentenarians, 112, 115, 120.
Yep.
So we know we can get there. And so, okay, let's set a target of 120. I'm 60. That's 60 years from now.
Yep.
I'm 61. It's 59 years from now. In 59 years, the amount of progress we're going to be seeing is unfathomable in the form of AI and quantum computing and genomics and understanding. So it's not that I have to make those changes today. I need to live long enough to build the next bridge to live longer and so forth, right?
I completely get the argument. It's basically the argument of eventually there'll be a Moore's law for longevity, and if you can just survive long enough to get there, then you get the sky hooks and you get the boosting and so on and so forth.
So 75, 80 for yourself?
Well, the reason is because I think of myself as a pragmatic ideologue, right? Where
or a pessimist, as the case may be.
I'm not a pessimist, actually. I would not consider myself an optimist either. I'm actually Elon had this thing where he's like, he's determined rather than pessimistic or optimistic. I am about technological, I will set, a North Star kind of goal there. I'm just as ambitious, I think, as you in the sense of, I do think this can be done. Mm-hmm. Whether it can be done within my lifetime, I don't know. Whether it'll be done soon enough for me, I don't know. We'll push really hard to get there. I think the pragmatic ideologue is basically the concept of setting that North Star and that destination. And then, you have a winding path there. You have to accumulate the capital and figure out the bugs and recruit the team and do 1,000 pragmatic things to reach that destination. And that balance of things, most people who are very pragmatic are not ideologues, and most ideologues are not very pragmatic, right? Or
realize that the biggest business opportunity on the planet in fact, is adding healthy years in a person's life, and then realize that ultimately billions of dollars are flowing into this marketplace. And the more credible the conversation becomes, the more capital is coming in, the more people are investing, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy in that
totally
regard.
Agree with this.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But the question is, so the key thing is more credible, right? And I love the concept of the bold declaration and so on. I'm going to live till X number of years. And so more power to that. What I found that moves the needle for people, so to speak, is the visuals, right? You know, we were showing this, you know, when you and I were talking in New York, right? The quote, holy shit phenotypes, right?
Yes.
And so let me actually put a few of those on screen. Here's one. This is not exactly longevity, but it is an amazing visual, right? So that guy, before and after, you know, longevity, like his hair is now ungraying. And then if you scroll down, there's another guy with the same thing who looked.
And this was a chemotherapy for
it was
cancer
a side
treatment?
effect. It was a side effect of a treatment for lung cancer, right? And the thing about this is, you know, this is a non-trite point. It'll sound like a trite point, but I think it's not, which is longevity. Crypto is actually very similar to longevity in that they both reject fundamental premises of the establishment while also bearing some similarities. Okay, for example, with crypto, the similarities to the existing, you know, finance system is you have the bar charts and you have obviously market depth, and a lot of this kind of stuff looks like traditional finance, right? That's a surface resemblance. But the substrate, the underlying difference in premises is that the establishment, for example, will say, hyperinflation is bad, but deflation is also bad. Therefore, mild inflation is good, right? A little inflation is good. Whereas crypto will say, or Satoshi said, hyperinflation is bad and mild inflation is also bad, and deflation is good because it reflects genuine reduction in prices over time, okay? And that's a fundamental premise difference. And there's other premise differences. It's like you should have control over your own data, and you should have sovereignty over your own currency.
I see this. I was gonna ask you why there's such a correlation between longevity and the crypto space, because I'm seeing, your Brian Armstrong is committed, a huge amount to the space, and there's a lot of the crypto billionaires. Disproportionate from traditional Wall Street wealthy individuals have been investing in this space.
Right. And I think Hal Finney, who is, if not Satoshi, is one of the best, certainly an influence on Satoshi, was then called an extropian, who was into this type of stuff, longevity and transhumanism and whatnot in the 90s.
You call optimal.
I call it optimalism, right? Because
optimism. Yeah.
Transhumanism now more recently has acquired negative connotations.
I agree with you, by the way.
Yeah, but optimalism, I think, is something which is not optimism but optimal, right? It doesn't say push things to their extreme